Welcome to What She Said, Stuart.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate
Nice score on Ryan Reynolds in there.
Right? I know, right?
So this is the part of the interview where I'm supposed to ask you why you wrote this book, but I think the only ones who won't know are stupid. So let's humor them. Why did you write this book, and why now?
I think, in the past 7 or so years, we've noticed things getting a little bit dumber and people are doing more dumb things and feeling okay about doing dumb things. But I mean, I need to also sort of state the fact that this book is less about pointing a finger at a specific group of people and saying that they're stupid and kind of like gesturing wildly in every direction, including our own, and saying, this is all stupid. Let's all take a breath. Let's just step back, sit down for a bit, take a breath, and reevaluate what we're doing. So, I mean, hopefully if that comes through, then I've done my bit of good.
Excellent. So you describe this as a field guide for life. So what's the most essential survival tip you can offer listeners right now to surviving the stupidpocalypse?
I think the first step to getting through some being stupid and doing dumb things is realizing that you might be stupid and you might be doing dumb things. That's the key. When you think I'm absolutely right, there's absolutely no way I'm wrong. I'm totally on the right side of this issue. You've got to just again, take a step back, take a breath, and make sure, because you might not be. Not everyone, it doesn't matter how smart you are in one area, you might not be smart in every area.
That's so true. Especially the last couple of years, it is so easy to get baited into these conversations online.
Oh, yeah.
And you're enraged and you're not thinking.
Yeah.
And, you see it all the time. And I hate to both sides of this, but you do see it often, both sides.
Sure. Yeah, I think that, we've been kind of trained by social media. Social media is amazing. It's wonderful and it can do tremendously good things. But it also has had the unfortunate side effect of making us feel like we have to react to everything we see. We have to get outraged at things. We have to support things. We have to click like. If we don't click like, you're a monster. It's like we don't have to react to everything. To me, social media is like, if you've gone into a bar. In regular life, you go into a bar and you sort of focus on the person you're with or whoever you're talking to. In social media, it's like going into a bar, but you can hear clearly every single thing that every single person is saying. And a lot of that, it doesn't require your reaction because a lot of it's dumb. So you could just kind of move on and ignore it. But I mean, we have to kind of train ourselves to almost be desensitized a little bit and kind of be or focus our perception more on, what's happening as opposed to what's actually important to us, what's actually warrants a reaction from us. And it's difficult.
You have over 600 million views on your videos. So you've struck a chord with people. What do you think it is about your comedic approach that resonates so deeply?
You know what it is? I'll tell you what it is, Candace. It's the fact that I'm an aspirational influencer. It's it's those really good looking people that hold up products. I'm like that, except that my kind of aspiration is I show people just how low the bar can go. And and it's like, listen, you're trying way too hard. It's not as hard as you think it is. And I show them how to be happy with mediocrity. That's the key for my aspirational influencing.
Can we talk about the other Reynolds for a minute?
My cousin? Sure.
How did this whole collaboration come to be and he wrote in the book?
So Ryan has been following me for a little bit, and then I was like, oh my God, Ryan Reynolds is following me. And so I followed him back, and then this is coming up on 3 years ago, and he DM'd me and he said, I'd like to send you a case of gin if whatever reason you don't like gin, I'd like to send you a case of gin. And I was like, I like free gin. That's my favorite type of gin. And so he did. And then we sort of were back and forth chat. It was really weird, DMing, and he's like, well, let's have dinner and stuff. And I'm like, and I remember telling Shannon this about having the offer to have dinner with him and Blake. And she's like, there is no way in hell I'm sitting in a restaurant across from Blake Lively eating. That is just not going to happen. So, I mean, but he's helped me with lots of stuff. He helped me with some film option stuff, which was great. And then I asked him if he would be interested in writing the foreword for the book, and he didn't respond. And then I asked him again, and then he did. So, yeah, that was basically it.
Okay, so let's go back to social media. How do you weed through and find the most absurd gems for your content? That must take a lot of time.
You'd think it would, right? You think it's like I found a diamond, or like I've gone hunting for truffles or something. It's like stupid truffles, but it's not. I mean, they're just there in the open. They're just absolutely there in the open. I think one of the things that motivates me now and has in the past few years for making content, video content on social media is when I see people getting bent out of shape about things, I think, whoa, you're wasting your energy getting bent out of shape of this because it's a non-issue. One of my favorite, this is one of my guiding quotes. I love quotes in general. One of my guiding quotes is a former counselor here in Stratford, Ontario, where I'm from. And he was a farmer, older guy. And it was way back when the provincial government had said that they would allow women to go topless. And then they kind of, part of that, they said to municipalities, but you guys can decide if you allow women to go topless in your parks, your city parks. And City Hall with the council was all up in arms. And, oh my God, what are we going to do with this? What's going to happen? The parks are going to be overrun with breasts. It's going to be weird. And this counselor said, by winter, this whole issue will be dead. And it's like, yeah, exactly. Let's not get bent out of shape over this because there's some real life practicalities that will kick in. So don't worry about it. It's fine. It's okay.
Is there something right now that you find particularly absurd happening in the Canadian space?
Yeah, I think there's, I think politics has become all consuming, which I hate. I mean, I've never been I've never been a fan of politics, but you can't avoid it now. It's just, you have to, it feels like you have to take sides. And I kind of don't like that. Cause I mean, being totally honest, over the course of my voting life, I've voted for all three major parties in Canada.
I say that all the time. I've voted for every party. And
I've been like, this guy's great. This guy's running in our riding. He's really great. And he's this party. Yeah. Well, whatever. He's really good. And I like him or whatever. She's really good in this party. That doesn't matter. Whereas now it feels like, I can't support this. There's parts of things I just can't support. So that means I have to feel a certain way about this. And then it makes you sound like I hate the fact that it makes you sound like a rah-rah cheerleader for, a particular political party. It's like, no, I'm not. They're all flawed. They're all totally flawed. But I think that's the stupidest thing right now. I want to get past this point where politics becomes less entertainment and more boring. I want it to be boring again. I want it to be about policy choices and tax policy and stuff. It's like, whatever. I don't need to listen to this.
And, because everything is so serious now, politics, current events, how do you strike that balance between humor and sensitivity when discussing these things? I
think the key is you don't want to outright make fun of people for thinking a certain thing, except for sometimes. It's rare that you want to do that. I think mainly you want to kind of just hold up a mirror and go, this is a little bit silly, don't you think? And if you can find the right words to do that, that's kind of the most effective way, because I think people have to, the thing is that, there's so much misinformation, there's so much disinformation, there's so much spin, that it's easy for anybody, doesn't matter, of all walks of life, to be taken in and to sort of, get entrenched in these beliefs on things that might be wrong. So you have to offer them kind of a nice way out. And I'm not great at that all the time for sure. Certainly throughout the pandemic, I wasn't awesome at it. But at the same time, there was, different things call for different measures, basically.
Is Shannon your filter? Do you run a lot of things through Shannon? Does she say, no, that's too far?
Yes, she does. Now, usually she says it's too far, way before it's too far. So she is a very cautious person. And usually I will ask her only when I'm really, really curious of I'm missing something. And then she'll provide her perspective. And sometimes I agree with her. Other times I know that if she goes, I think that's a bit too far, then I know that I've hit the right spot. That's the perfect spot.
All right. Well, let's close out this interview then. If for people listening, do you have one piece of advice for people trying to maintain their sanity in this crazy, crazy time?
My one piece of sanity is you don't have to react to everything. So it's okay. You don't have to react to everything. You can just take care of you.
All right. Excellent. I love following your content. I don't miss anything. So where can people listening keep up with you and find the book?
So they can look for me on any social media platform. Just search for Brittlestar. You'll see my bespectacled smiling face. And if you want to find out information about the book, you can go to stupidpocalypse.com, and it gives you all the links for where to buy it, the information to go to your local bookstore, whatever you need. And also we're going on tour. So we'll maybe see you in Calgary, Winnipeg, or Ottawa, or wherever else we're going.
All right. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining me today, Stuart.
Thank you so much for having me.